The modern evolution of rock and roll and country. What I will be discussing is a contrasting evolution of rock and roll and country over the past 15 to 20 years and how country music has transformed into a trend-setting music genre. In the 90s, rock and roll was as vibrant as ever. The characters were very mainstream, extravagant, evil makeup-wearing sex hounds that partied hard and then partied harder. The era brought about bands such as Ozzy Osbourne, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Green Day, and Pantera, just to name a few. These bands were and still are known based on their edgy lyrics that were oftentimes controversial, based on criticizing government activities to biting off the heads of bats. In addition, you have artists such as Kid Rock that had a new modern rap metal flavor that oftentimes fades back to the sounds of southern rock and roll. Transitioning from the 80s, where rock was very popular, to the 90s, where rock remained popular but changed its face from the tight clothes and makeup to the grunge rock culture. This, to me, was the final heyday for rock and roll as far as a superior mainstream popularity. The grunge era died in the early to mid-90s and has really suffered ever since. Now we have the emergence and popularity of the pop rockabilly style country. Today, rock and roll remains popular, but generally only within the old school freakers group and those that lived in the old rock and roll era. This style of music has transformed into a rap metal yelling style of music. Generally, the majority of the genre has alienated the general population. Moving on to country, in the 80s and 90s, country was still very traditional in sound, technique, and lyrics. It was a niche genre that primarily appealed to small-town rural folks and older generations of fans. Everything about country screamed twangy country boy, drinking beer in his truck, driving down a dirt road under the moonlight, sad because his woman left him for another man. This simply did not appeal to the masses. As time passed, the popularity of rock and roll has fallen and the popularity of country music has risen to new highs. Today's country is not your mom and pa's country. When discussing the pioneers of the new style of country and the increasing popularity of the genre, one should look no further than Tim McGraw, Kenny Chesney, Faith Hill, Garth Brooks, and a few other notable artists as well. These individuals are responsible for bringing country back to life through a new, fresh sound and style, while still respecting the roots of the musicality of the genre. As you can see in the chart, today's country music is not only among the most popular genres of music, it is the most popular, with all forms of rock and roll being left behind. Today, when you turn on your radio and you decide to listen to a rock station or a pop R&B station, you are likely to hear a country artist. There are country rock and pop crossover artists such as the band Perry, Carrie Underwood, Bon Jovi, Jewel, and Aaron Lewis. In fact, if you were to go to a country concert, it would most oftentimes seem like a rock concert broke out. Not only has the sound of country transformed to the point where it appeals to most everyone, so has the fashion. In fact, in many instances, mainstream fashion trends are set by country artists. At any time, it is common to see someone in a shirt, jeans, or boots that you would see on television watching a country music award show. To add to the argument of mainstream popularity of country music, there is a primetime television series titled Nashville that airs on ABC and is based on the country music industry. In the end, both rock and roll and country music have strong, deep-rooted tradition. That being said, the transition of what is most acceptable within the mainstream listening community has transitioned to country and the new blend that genre offers, with a rock-pop flair to the sound, style of the music, along with the fashion of the artist. When I was in high school in the late 80s and early 90s, I would have never imagined ever listening to anything but rock and roll. Today, country music is my go-to sound because country music simply rocks.